Hey, well, welcome to the Dream Labs with Dr. Contrast Live. I just thought we'd put a little action and time here today and do some interior space concept sketches. And before I begin here, I just want to make sure that I very much apologize to the fact that over the last few days, I'm not able to get the chat system up on the board here. So I'm hoping that it'll all work out here. Happened sometime last week. Went through the process of maybe updating some things. And lo and behold, I thought we were all set to go. And last Thursday, I had the same problem come up. We didn't have any chat line system here. So if you're tuning in, feel free to join the chorus here. I won't be able to respond in typing format, but I will be able to respond if a question comes up. So again, thank you for your patience. And again, interesting concept here, study in terms of putting together concept sketches for interior space. I'm going to go through a couple of very quick, rapid little thumbnail sketches and see how that all begins to function and operate. And interesting how it all begins to go together with regard to working with horizon line. And I'll use a little system here called like an altered 1-2 point perspective system, which is really interesting. It takes a typical 1 point perspective, which is fairly parallel in nature, and just kind of twists it a little bit to give a little more drama, a little more effect into the operation. So bear with me here. I'm going to start just again, ballpoint pen and some Prismacolor pencils. I'll go through some little thumbnail sketches here and get the perspectives lined up. Then we'll come back and put a little bit of color, a little bit of tone to it here to kind of give a little bit of distinction, a little bit of character, so we can see what we're dealing with as far as textures go. But the primary purpose today is to get used to the fact that being very lucid, very sketch through, very drawing through process in terms of especially interior space. There's so many things happening here. And putting the volumes together, it can sometimes become overwhelming. But I think there's one key thing to remember as we go through these sketches here today, and it's simply this. In any given perspective sketch, especially in interior space, any product design, any transportation design piece, no matter what the concept is you're working on, there's only one horizon line and a multiple number of vanishing points that can be put on that horizon line that could really be very, very helpful to you. So just remember as we go through this, we're going to rotate things around. Things might shift a little bit, go from one vanishing point, like a 1 point perspective start, and into a 2 point change because of some elements being added to the sketch. And we'll take it from there. So let's go through these guys. And let's kind of line it up here. Just going to start a design line here. It's going to come back in here. Just put that's through. A little bit of a vertical. Take that on through. Back right through here. Draw through it very lightly. I'm just going to start to skin this thing in just a little bit here. Get this started. A little bit of an overhang or a little balcony here to work with. Let's come back and get a little bit of vertical. Let's put a column in here to kind of separate the space, just to kind of break it up just a touch. Start very light here, just to block things in. Back to horizon line. Overhang just a bit into the leading edge, and there it is there. Cool. Come back in. Got it underneath just a bit. Give it a little bit more overhang. There it is. Going right back to horizon line. Let me turn this guy sideways just a moment here. I'm going to get this drive line vertical. And again, just draw through it here through the base. Let's get this started here. A bit more vertical in this thing. Back again to this little corner, draw through it. Split this up. Let's come right down the center line in this column here. Just kind of find where that center is, find where that center is. And we're going to pull off some shelving here. Just a little concept sketch here. Just building the shape. Back to the horizon line. And back there's my horizon line right in there. So it's going to come through. Break into this. Back out here. Put a break on it there. Come down to vertical again. And again, same thing here. A little bit of counter space coming off of this one center module here. There it is. Ends there, ends there. Let's make it rounder. A little bit of radius, a little bit of radius. Let's separate the shape a little bit here. A bit of depth to it. back on the floor surface into that form, break out of it again, take it over, and run that right through. Base, there's base. Let's come back and get this corner into place here. Let's take this underneath. Let's take this balcony through and bring it over on top. Stop there for a moment. Here we are. Just got this thing rolling here. There it is. There it is, the edge. It's going to come up on top here once again here, about second floor. That through. Real quick sketches here. Down the floor. Back in the space here. Let's take this back in the hallway. Some little verticals to break up the form. Let's draw this through here. And just connect the dots here. Let's bring that little wall surface right in there. Kind of open that up just a bit. So there's a bit of a distinction there. There it is. Back to some verticals here. Let's rotate this guy just a bit. Pardon me for moving the paper around quite a bit. It's just a lot easier to get the horizontals and verticals in line there once we get started. So there's a start of a little thumbnail sketch here. So we're kind of moving things around in terms of getting back to that one horizon line and putting some basic form in place here and keeping it nice and simple as we go through the process here. Let's go back and beef in just a little bit here. Let's add a little bit more this way. We might center on this one there. It's going to split this up. I can't see it there. There's a pane of glass there and then there. And again, let's put some glass on this side. There it is there. Let's go back and break this up just a bit more. And back to this side. Across. There's that balcony area there, and that comes right on through. Let's break that plane up just a bit. Take that on through. Put a bit of soft sculpture in here to kind of soften off some of the hard edges here that we're working with. Maybe it's a little planter of some sort. You just kind of lay that in very quickly. Same thing on this side here. A little bit of a planter just to kind of soften off the shapes. It's kind of it's a real quick little romantic sketch here. Let's put a little bit of this in here. And again, start to beef this sketch up just a little bit. Now we're starting to come to life a little bit more. Just opening it up just a touch. Just getting some neat spaces to work here. Draw through it. Just kind of break this up just a touch as well. And let's cut that corner right back in there so we get that little bit of that shape is going. There it is there. Let's put a little bit of this down below. Just kind of soften off that ground plane just a touch. Get some little bit of soft escape. It's nice and simple. But the main thing is to really take advantage of the fact that that drama is really kind of, so it opens up just a little bit. It does not become static. It's not all parallel. It's a little bit of an open face here. Kind of slants in just a bit. Let's go back and do this. There it is there. Down to this base here. A little bit of tone underneath there to kind of a little bit of shadow. There it is. A bit of shadow on that side. Drop through it. Put this in the shadow of this little soapbox up on top here. Put that in some sort of shadow. Or it sits on top of the other. There's its edge. Its edge. Let's kind of bring that on through. Let's put this in some context of some sort. A little bit of an offset there. A little bit of an offset here. A little bit of a peep window of some sort. And back them through here. And just a bit of tone. Tells where the light source is coming from. Just very softly. Just kind of bring in here. Scale in this thing. People. A little tone underneath this thing too. It's going to tell us it's in shadow. Come right down the center of this thing. Center line, back to BP. Recess lighting. Right back into that shape. A little bit of hint back here. It kind of has a bit of a cantilever. A bit of recess up on that second floor. Let's put a little bit of tint in that. Let me move the sketch back a bit here. And again, some glass divisibles. A little bit of a different pattern. Let's back to this. And again, up. Just slowly building this. Let me stop there for a moment. How that volume is just going to come together now. Just opening it all up, just kind of giving a little bit of flavor to it. And let's put a little bit of line weight back into this thing here. And rotate this the other way here, folks. There we are. That's it. That. Let's get this in place. And again, take that off the picture plane. Let's let this become a little bit more of a on that hallway. Just a bit. And there's a quick little, well, fast little ballpoint pen study of a little bit of an interior space concept here we're working with. And so far it's coming together pretty nicely. Let's add a little bit of, let's do this. Let's put a little bit of shoulder on this thing. Put more texture in this thing. And just for what it's worth, let's show you a little bit of glasses doing here, what these surfaces are doing. Put glass up into here, just kind of bring that into play. Let's take this in. Got a glass surface up on top, glass all the way through. And a little bit of a reflectant piece in through here. Just going to take that back in. Reflect that, those pieces right back in there. Again, down below, a little bit of glass here. Draw the viewer back into the space. Again, a little bit of that overhang, that little bit of shadow here, a little reflected light. Where the shadow is and the overhang. Again, same back in here. Back to glass again, shadow on the inside edge, and a little bit of a walk away in this thing. Take it out, in. There it is there. A bit more beef here. Let's take that on through. More glass inside that guy. And again, maybe just a touch down here. Take that right out. And a little bit of reflective, that second wall behind it there. Just going to bring that back into play here. And just to add a little bit of touch here, a little bit of foliage. Nothing, just to kind of separate some of the textures here to kind of give a little bit of character. And just a bit more shadow here. Tell us where that light source is coming from. A little more of that underneath. Just a little bit more side pencil. A little more, there it is. There it is there. A little bit of shadow drop under this guy. And again, over here. And again, the tree. Just real simple little this here. Just kind of put this into some sort of context on the floor surface here. That comes down. Gives us that. That comes along. And now to wrap it up right now, a little more tone right here, just so that you know that's a round sort of cylindrical form. There it is. And a bit of shadow of that. Into that planter fixture. And there's that first little thumbnail sketch right about in there again, just kind of putting it all together, a little thumbnail interior space. How it all came together. And again, notice how it just a bit more drama, a lot more angle in the forms itself, and opening up that one point perspective to kind of give a little more character to it. So very interesting set of circumstances to work with here. So let's carry on here. Let's go back in. Rise the line there just kind of lightly. And then let's go back in through here. Pick a point of reference. Come back out with this. Let's open this up. Just setting it up a bit here. Turn it sideways a bit here. Come back in. Pick up that point of reference there. Down to ground. And then right up through. Run this through. Now, let's pick up a little bit of that upper. Little ceiling graphic here. Now let's work to the other side here. Let's just divide this thing up just a bit. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And let's get this on the incline. Let's bring it back up vertically again. Draw that through, a little bit of an edge. Now let's pick up this. A little bit of a radius on the ceiling here. Split that just a bit. Recess lighting. Wall drops back a bit. Picks up this guy. Now let's break this up just a bit here. A little bit of human scale in this thing. Put a divider on the middle of the floor surface here. Soften it up just a bit here. Some photos putting something in the foreground to kind of bring it all together for us here. Keeping it nice and loose, very simple. Let's plant these guys in the floor surface here. There, and there. Turn this aside just a bit here. Put a bit of tone underneath this wall here. A bit of foreground in this thing. Kind of, again, break up some of the hard edges. A little bit of foliage. Or surface in here, kind of take it back inside the form just a bit. Here's another little roughie here, just some ballpoint pens, rough sketch, just putting it together. And I kind of watch from the back seat, not driving this time. Hey, Demetrius, how are you, man? It's good to have you on board, Demetrius. There's a couple little thumbnail sketches. I just wanted to start a little early today because I was really concerned, still very concerned about the fact that I'm not really catching up on my chat system here. I don't know what's taking place, but I just have a chat line here, so forgive me for not being able to respond. But very interesting, good stuff here. Good to have you on board, Demetrius. These are just little. I had some questions last week about getting into interior space. How do you set up perspective? What do you do with these certain things that you deal with as you go from one scenario to another? And I thought it was very interesting that we really kind of, I thought we kind of put a nice little simple explanation of one-point perspective, how to alter it a little bit, how to put some drama into it, and a little bit of color and tone to get the right function for us. So let me just kind of correct here as I go here. Let's get this in here. Put a little bit more divisible lines and that little reflection piece underneath there. Let's come back in. It's in shadow. So let's come right back and reverse that. Just a little more. Back to light source. Sorry about that. Again, back to light source. And that takes me right into that. Now this whole underneath there, it could be open space. That could be another set of dictation forms, etc. But let me just bring this back in again here. So as it stands, Demetrius, again, back to the subject matter, just looking at how do you put something very quickly together, little thumbnail sketches, look at all the changes of surface, where do they all go to? There's always one common horizon line. If you trace these guys back, you're about right in through here, just about right there, and then all converging about right in there. So there's my VP. The little red indication tells me where everything's kind of firing back to. And the same with this one. Now here's my horizon line here. That kind of comes through just a bit very lightly. Here's my VP right there. So I'm going to extend that just a bit. There's my horizon line. So I'm just kind of really paying everything back to that vanishing point, but at the same time, putting a bit more drama in the shapes and opening things up. And notice I'm not confining it to an outline. I'm opening it all up to kind of give you a breathing space inside the form itself. So let me stop there for a moment. Just making sense, Demetrius? You good? Well, it's good to have you on board, too. Thank you for taking the time here. As I said, I started a little earlier, and I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen with this chat system here. Hopefully by Thursday we'll get that organized here and get it back online. So let me just put, while you're doing response here, let me just put a bit bolder line work in this glass surface here. Put a little bit of tone to it. There we are. So there we go. There's sketch number 2. Let's put a bit of tone in this thing now. Back in. Glass. Like that light come right back in through here and just catch a little bit of that same shadow. That's glass. All this can go glass. And again, same set of circumstances. A little bit of shadow. And this very well could be this nice little, let's put a bit of color and soften it off just a bit here. A little bit of tone in the sky. Same thing up on top here. A little bit more flavor. And just a little bit of shadow. And again here. Just to kind of soften this form up just enough and just kind of drag it on through. That's a nice, that's to me a nice little complimentary form in terms of how to put together very interesting, simple shapes and putting some concept work together for interior space. And it's all built on understanding where that horizon line is and everything driving back to it. But at the same time, you can actually alter or twist it a little bit to give some form and some shape to it so it's not so static. I think that's the thing I really want to concentrate on in this particular program altogether here. So let me stop here for a moment. Again, Demetrius, feel free to give me a little bit of response time here. What do you think, Chief? Coming together all right for you? I'll wait for a second here. Just kind of give me a little bit of input as to what you think. And I'll move any questions you might have while we're going through this process right now, Demetrius. Be happy to help you. Just give me a shot. Let's draw through this, a little bolder than these guys. Just putting some little final tweaks on some of these forms here. And draw through that. Again, that comes through. It goes up, and there it is. So that's it right there, Demetrius. If you're still there, let me know, man. Is this helping? coming right out, a little bit of scale. And again, it's such a tedious process because there's so many things going on in the actual forms themselves, and it takes a lot of time to kind of put the pieces together. But if you visualize where the horizon line is, and everything else comes right back and collapses to it, and again, you can shift. For example, notice these planes are going to the same horizon line, but it's a different vanishing point, so I can move that out and make those changes at will. Same with this tower here. That horizon line's here. I'm still extending that out to another series of. This is a 1-point setup, and this is a 2-point tower. So I'm using a different set of vanishing points to put that all together. So there's sketch one. Let's move along here. And okay, let me do this first. That's that guy. There's one. Let's gotta go back and let's start another set here. Let's give you a little indication where that horizon line is. So it's going to be here. There's my vanishing point. So I'm going to start right. So I'm looking for right the little indication right there. I'm going to come out, start to build the form. Draw through it. Make it back in perspective. Hit the corner. Grab that right back to the vanishing point again. Grab that right back to the vanishing point again. Bring this corner into play. Now let's come right down the corridor line here. And let's add a little bit of a sweep here. Let's do this. Radius this thing off. Let's do this. Bring this down. Let's bring that radius right back to VP. There it is. Right down to VP. Back around again. Right through. It's going to do that. Let's get the complementary piece here too. Let's bring that into play. It's got to get this back in space here. Let's go back and get this. Turn this sideways here for a moment. Take this back. Drop it about right there. Let's get this guy. Let's put a vertical here. Put a vertical there. And one here. Let's take it back. A little bit of thickness in these forms. These standing signage pieces here. It's going to put a little bit of vertical in here. There it is. Now let's get something in the ceiling here. It's going to drive this through. Edge. A little bit of a floater here. A little bit of a floater there, and let that kind of just fly off the page. Ceiling graphic. Let's get that radius in between there. It's going to strengthen that just a bit. There it is. Back to ground. Back to ground. Straight through. And do a sweep. Let's follow that right around here. A little bit of softness in this thing. A planter of some sort. Again, just the idea to knock off some of the hard edges and put more romance into these forms here. A little bit of shape in this thing. Light source is coming over here. Let's tone this guy. And stand here in that corner. And again, with a scale. And again, let's stop right there. Let's look at that little thumbnail sketch there. How the Dr. Contrast type question as to how to improve my freehand straight lines. Yeah, is it Demetrius? Is that your question about your straight line systems there? Sorry, I was just working away there. Sorry, I missed your question. You're talking about straight lines in terms of when you're drawing freehand? Hello. Excuse me. Let me know what the scoop is there, and then we'll begin to answer your question here for you, Dimitri. I think that's still you, if I'm not mistaken. The center line, let's put a lighting in this thing. A bit of ceiling lighting here, just to spot that in, to tell us where the reference is up on the ceiling. And again, a little bit of tone here. Recess in the light itself, and the light itself. And the shadow across the top of that lamp. There it is. That's it right about in there. Two circles, running a light form up on top of that ceiling here. Here we are. Let me stop there for a moment. Yeah, let's see. If that's your question there, Demetrius, I think one of the most unique things to be able to do with this stuff in freehand is if you want to practice drawing those freehand straight lines, I'd come right from the shoulder, take a sheet of paper, and give yourself a target line, for example, and come from the bottom of the page up to it, and just from your shoulder, just keep striking those lines, and watch what happens in terms of the idea is to get to the place where you don't touch them. You just barely hit the tangent. You just barely hit the tangent, and that should help you quite a bit. A lot of the problems with straight lines comes from either the wrist or from the elbow, and I think we're having a hard time sometimes getting that all put together because it really should come from the shoulder. But I draw these guys, even though the lines are very restrictive. For example, my whole thrust is coming from the shoulder. It's coming up, and from the shoulder, draw through it, draw through it, draw through it. Really a lot of strength in terms of coming from that shoulder to get this thing to read for me. There it is. There it is there. It's a bit of tone in this guy too. A bit of a texture change. Let's take that right through and end it right about there. Let's draw that right through. And put a little bit of that same tone right inside, a little bit of a texture change right in through here. Let it just fade. A bit of a secondary ring. Back in, back in. Is that making sense, sir? Demetrius, so far so good? That helping? So that's another little, so I just put a little bit of glass in this thing now, just a bit of texture change, a little bit of tone change here, a little bit of glass there, behind the scenes here, behind that form, glass, up in the top here. And again, here, just really simple texture change. We'll put that line right back into it a little bit, back in again, and take the viewer right back where the light source is coming from, there and there. And again, let's put a little foliage in this thing. This real simple color to kind of break up to some of the monotony of some of the ink. And then let's get this in the shadow here. Drop that down. Just little personality sketches that make a huge difference in getting all your line weights put together. There's a little thumbnail sketch again, but how really dramatic. Just really interesting how that really kind of puts it all together in terms of a very lucid notice, very open, not a lot of definition yet. Don't need it to be a lot of definition. Just taking the time to come right back in and being very conscious of the fact that, again, where that horizon line is, this guy right here, everything's driving right back to that vanishing point, which is right in there. So that's where you start. But again, I can move that vanishing point or those forms around in space and do a lot of neat things with this stuff. Let's kind of do this just for a moment here. It's kind of a bit more sweep in this thing. There it is. And again, it's a counterband through it. Get back into here. Let's take those right back into floor as well. Add a little more drama in this thing. There it is. Let's take it around the bend here, etc. Boom, up on top. Again, there it is. You can come back in through here and add this. Just change the whole character. All of a sudden, the more you add to it, the more drama you get into the form itself. But again, the key is to keep it nice and simple and be very effective in terms of putting it all together with just very quick little thumbnail sketches. These again, let's stop here for a moment, just kind of review some things with you here. What this really represents is a really fast, when I go through a series of sketches from interior space designers and working with firms in the city here or across any of my client base, whenever I'm charged with doing some interior concept work, these are the kind of sketches I start with. Just very quick. Let's put these together here if I can get them all on the same screen. I don't think we can here, but let's try this. Nope, not like. I start with sketches very similar to this, where sometimes a little bit of color, sometimes none whatsoever, but just a nice little series of thumbnail sketches that put some progress together and put some shape together and understand where the graphics are. What are the forms doing? What are the shapes doing? And I'm always conscious of where that horizon line is. I'm always driving things back to that. Even though I'm adding multiple vanishing points from 1 point to 2 point and vice versa, it makes an enormous difference of putting some of the character of the sketch together. And you can change the character so quickly by understanding where those VPs go and how you rotate certain forms. For example, this guy was rotated. This is a 1 point setup behind it, but this is a 2 point system, as is this. Just change the entire character of the form and the shape. You're working compatible with the walls and the like, but it gave it another dimension of personality. Same with this one we just completed. Adding a little bit of a round wall, a little bit of radius in this thing doesn't change the fact that you still have that same vanishing point to work with. We could actually complete that shape around here with a very large circle in perspective up around the ceiling line here. Let me do this just for a moment. Don't want to be deceptive. A little bit of a living edge on it here, so that kind of breaks up like so. It gives me a little more dimension. And I can also do this. I can come back in, and once I get this set up, break through that, and start to pick up these points of reference and just come in and change again the character of the ceiling graphic. Look at that, draw that through and just change the character here. And it just adds so much to it once you begin to know, once you begin to understand and really fully see how this whole site envelope opens up and begins to help you with some of the surfaces you're dealing with. And it really does make a huge difference. Let's come back to this. I want to add something else in through here just to show you how this works. There's that one. There's your second circle here, third lighting there. Drop it in. Drop it in. Might get a little bit of overlap, but that's okay. Again, just by adding just a touch more drama in here, or you take the viewer right back inside that element, and there you are. It's right down the ceiling line. And again, I hope we put it all together. That's it. So that's that sketch. Let's wrap it up here with a nice little, one last little thumbnail study here. Let's go back in here. And we'll look through the same process. Let's open this up. Again, back to VP. Let's do this. So you see where that's coming from? There's my horizon line. There's my vanishing point right there. So I'm going to work on that guy right through there. I'm going to come back up, create the ground plane. An element here. Come back up. I'm going to cheat that up a little bit. It needs more height, so that's fine. Same horizon line, different BP. Same horizon line. Different vanishing point. Just opening that up a bit. Now I'm going to come back in here and just come in and work on this one wall at a time here. Let's move this verticals. Put these verticals in place. Come back again. All of that, just very lightly first. Block it all in, come back in and define it a little bit more thoroughly here in a few moments. Open this up. Let's stretch this out just a bit more. Stretch that out. Let's add a sky bridge. Does that, and come back to my VP, open that up. Let's take this wall inside just a little bit, and come back to VP, open that up, create the wall back here, and drive that right back out again. Here's my other side. Now let's put this sky bridge back here. Take that through, again. Sky bridge here, and here, and again. Out, and the edge, and then little by little, look how that form. Let's put a little recess in this thing. A little bit, get this wall featured in here. Break that up. Now let's come back up to this skywalk. It does that. Comes across, skywalk. Steps back a bit. Comes down here. A little bit of a feature down the middle of the piece here. Break the floor a little bit here. Get that little bit of that guardrail in here. That same system up on top here. Guardrail. Scale up on top here, upper elevation. Put some scale down below here. So that kind of sets up the space a little bit here. Just kind of push some of the little pieces together. Interesting. There it is. So there we are. Just going to keep going here. Got to finish this thing out. Vertical. Yeah, a little bit of this. Let's put just some crown on this thing. That's that. That comes through. This comes out of EP, opens up, gives me the ceiling graphic. I take that line right through glass, and that goes into glass. And then right down the middle here, some horizontals. Glass comes through. A little bit of that cantilever here. Soften off some of the shapes a little bit here. Now there's a pretty rough little vertical sketch in terms of putting some of the forms together here. There it is, nice and turned out. Thank you very much. Is it, you still with us there, Demetrius, or are you on the line there? Hopefully it's still working for you. Good to have you on board here. I hope I answered your question right about some of the straight line geometry that you're working with here, getting that all squared away. So there's a basic study there. So let's put a little bit of color in this thing again. A little bit of Prismacolor pencil. Let's come back and get some of the glass surfaces to work. Very softly. Take it on through. Hey, 412T guy, nice to have you on board. Thank you, very nice. I can't tell, is that 412? I'm sorry, I really apologize for the fact that my chat system is not operating here, but I'm just trying to go through the best I can to get everybody lined up here with the concept that we're dealing with today. Had a little bit of a tough time with it last week, trying to get the chat system to kind of tune in with the with the actual visual work. Still have a little bit of complication. We're trying to get it resolved by Thursday, so my apologies. And 412T guy, thanks so much for joining. It's nice to have you on board. Any questions so far about what you're seeing? Just real fast little thumbnail sketches on putting some concept together here. I'm going to add a little bit of detail on this guy too. Let's do this. Just put a little bit of tone in this. Underneath here, sketch with the shadow of this thing. And a little bit of tone in this. He's just kind of spotting it in. A little glass back in through here. Just tone that back. Get that kind of reflection to work just a touch. And that should do it there. Put a little bit of glass up on top here too. Let's kind of bring that, just break this shape up just a bit. Let's put some detail into this too. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the shadow underneath here. So there's a basic thumbnail study there. That we're just going to beef up some of these lines here. And put a little bit of softness in this thing while I'm at it. And a little bit of shadow. And over here. And roughly speaking, there's a nice little complimentary series of sketches here. And just putting a little bit of tone in these things. I think one thing I'm going to add to is this. I've been bringing this out here earlier, and didn't want to be, let's do a little bit of sandstone in the thing. We're going to put some texture in this thing. Let's come back and hit this. There we go. A bit more warmth in this thing here. Reflect it in. There we go. That's much better. It's a little stronger. Just a little bit warm it up a little bit here. So I think that's going to help our case here. Let's go back to each one of these guys. Put a little more zip into these things here. And let's go to the other side here. Let's get this guy rolling and bring it right back into the form itself. Out of it. And around the form. There it is. Just a little bit more color added to kind of warm it up just a touch here. And there's sketch 2. And let's put let's get this guy back in place here. Do the same thing with this as well. So here we go. Let's get that light source, making sure that's maintained. That's that back wall. It's just a nice neutral color. Let's separate this guy just a bit. Let's put this into place. Let's bring the floor in line here. A bit of shadow underneath this guy. Let's take this into shadow here, that side. And again, touch there. And just again, that same light source to bring it right through. Same here, there, there. And just a touch up on this side where this balcony piece is. Just going to bring that into play here. And again, straight through. And a little bit of ceiling graphic here. It's going to bring a little bit of warm into it. There it is. Nice. A bit of a wall. And just warm it up just a bit. So that's where we started with their 412 guy, 412T guy. Really cool. So I'm glad for. Where are you from, by the way, 412? I just had a little bit of chat. Again, so sorry for the absence of chat here, but we'll get this thing hopefully rectified by this coming Thursday. So location is, and again, so thank you for joining. Really appreciate you joining us here today, and hope this has been somehow. Are you an interior designer? Just out of curiosity, just asking. And let me sharpen the stick up a little bit here. Oh, hey, very good. Very good. So here we are. A little floor surface in here. Same thing on this side. Just gonna warm it up just a touch, take it inside, and then begin to lose it. Bring it right back into the form. There it is. And again, just a touch in through here. And a touch in through here. And again, right through the core of this thing. into the walls. Real loose, quick little sketches. Add a little more shadow inside this glass. Fight that back just a bit. And again here, a little shadow underneath that overhang. And one last thing here. So, go back to this number one. Go back here just for a moment. There it is, and so there's two studies here we put together very briefly. And again, this came about as a result of some questions that came up last Thursday when I was putting together some sketch work on my program here. I by the way, too, 412 T guy. I run every Tuesday and Thursdays from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. So if you can join us at those time frames, I'd love to have you come pick us up here. And if you have any subject matter you want us to work on, we'd like to see things done, please let me know how that's taking place, and I'll be happy to help in any way we can here. So, but again, it all came about from a question last week about someone talking about horizon line and drive lines and how to develop straight lines and so forth. And I think it's just interesting that all of a sudden the concept came about, well, let's do a little quick, fast analysis of some real thumbnail sketches on interior space and see what comes up with here. And again, I just thought I'd concentrate today on getting a simple thought down in terms of what it takes to get the horizon line in place, and then begin to drive the lines in 1 point or 2 point. And again, notice, as we said in the very beginning of the actual presentation here today, it's so paramount to know that in any given perspective drawing, you always will have one horizon line, one only, any number of multiple vanishing points. And most of these sketches that I've done here today are 1 point studies. But again, notice within that 1 point frame, there's a 2 point tower, 2 point tables or service areas and the like that change the paradigm. This is all purely 1 point here. But again, notice how I kind of altered the view a little bit to get a bit more drama instead of being so parallel all the time. Makes a huge difference. So that was the real function behind today's lesson in terms of, again, putting together different kinds of situations where you have a 1 point perspective, again, changing into a 2 point, for example. That structure on this guy is actually going to the same horizon line, but a different build system. And again, back to a very traditional 1 point series. So these are really fast, lucid sketches that hopefully help you get together and put together some concept work in a very fast, medium method, as I said earlier in the stream as well. 412 T guy. When I work with my clients, for example, on interior space or product design, especially interior space, I'll go through a series of thumbnail sketches like this, just kind of get the flavor down and show it to the client. And then we kind of, from there, refine it, and take care of some things as we go down the line here with the product itself. So all that to say, I can't thank you enough for joining in today, 412 guy, for following me. Thank you so much, much appreciated. And if you're interested, please visit my website at drcontrast.com. You'll notice there, I'm a beginner right now. I'm reading a book on, very good. So excellent. Good on product design. That'd be very helpful for you if you're a beginner. I just encourage you to practice. And if you make where to start, thank you for your help. I think where to start with just doing simple boxes in 1 point perspective, for example. Just go through a series of little frames that will help you get. Let me show you what I mean real quickly here. What might be helpful if you're doing interior space design. Come back in and just give yourself a horizon line. It's just going to give you a couple exercises here. Give yourself a horizon line. Give yourself a vanishing point. Come right back in and say, okay, out of that, I'm going to come back in and pick up a vertical. I'm going to alter it. I'm going to come back in through here. From there, open that up. And from there, open that up. And from there, open that up. And so forth. Hit the corners. Then we're going to just frame this in. Frame it in. Draw that across. If you want to come back and exchange the floor pattern a little bit here, so you want to open that up, that's fine. Now it's right back to drive line. Right back to wall. If you want to come back in and change things again, there it is. You want to bring that wall toward me, bring it toward me. But notice those lines, that line right there and that line right there, are coming right to that same horizon line. Just kind of put that through there, torque 12. That goes right through. So on that premise, there's the vertical. There's a now that can come back and do the, that can change the nature of the space. I can find my perspective center. Come right through and go vertical with it. Come right back to VP. There's my center, my ceiling. And then there I am right there very quickly. I have a very interesting set of circumstances on the floor. And the wall's opening up just a touch. There it is. There's one. There's another. Look how quickly that space came together. Is that helping you at all? There it is. If you come back with a horizon line, set up a vertical. Let's go back through that one more time so it's not so confusing. Just hit that horizon line down. Pick a vanishing point. Come back up. Strike it out. Strike it out. Come back in through here. Drive that right back. Drive that right back. Pick another point over here. Get the lines in place. Put the lines in place. Extend them out. Extend them out. Pick a point of reference here. There's my the end of that wall is right here. Come back out through here. There's the end of the wall there. Now I can go back. I can bring this. I can flatten that wall back out again by doing this. Again, notice those lines are all going back to the same vanishing point. I can do the same thing over here, but I'm going to another vanishing point out here to the right-hand side. Now I can come back in through and get my ceiling in place. Find out where my center line is here. There it is there. Find out where my center line is. Come back, pick it up, and there it is. And again, center line, there's my ceiling. There's my one line there, another lighting piece. And then that's how quickly that form came together. Is that helping you all, 412T guy? And again, I don't want to be forward here, but I think it might be good self-serving here. But if you go to my website at drcontrast.com and you go to the store, I have a basic book on drawing skills that takes you right into interior space, product design. It's a $25 purchase on my website at drcontrast.com. So I'd appreciate it. Take a look at it, see what you think. It's an e-file piece. You just purchase it and you can download it and it goes 1 and 2 point perspective, gets into rendering, gets in some shading work and the like. But it spends a lot of time on what you're referring to in terms of drawing certain things in perspective and getting things down. And being accurate with straight lines and building the shapes that you're dealing with in interior space. So on that thought, again, please visit my website. For those of you listening, visit my website at drcontrast.com. You have any questions at all, feel free to drop me a note at jim@drcontrast.com. I'd love to hear your input on certain things we're working on here. And again, if there's something I can work with you on, if you have an issue or something you want to deal with in my streams here on Twitch, drop me a note again at jim@drcontrast.com, and I can be able to hopefully help you. We'll put together a program for you. And again, please visit the website at drcontrast.com. And once again, Art 412T guy, please go to my website and take a look at that little ebook. And there's a whole series of lessons on it, and also on that same drcontrast.com, my website. There's a series of 9 drawing lessons you might find helpful as well. It's very inexpensive. It takes you from 1 to 2 point perspective into volumetrics and the light source into shading. That may have some help to you as well. So once again, thanks so much for taking the time here today, guys. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll see you Thursday with this chat line squared away and get that all fixed and get back in action here coming up on Thursday at 2 o'clock. So again, thank you so much, and I will close this presentation up with this very, very vital and necessary comment. Never forget to remember to dare to be great, because you are. Have a good one, gang. We'll see you Thursday. Take care. Bye-bye.